The adoption of the agenda. Okay, if everybody could get seated or get ready, we're going to start any minute, any second now. Please and thank you.
I'm turning that off,
Okay.
so it's easier to hear. But if it gets super
Hot,
hot
we'll
in
just
here,
turn it back
just
on.
let me know and I will.
Cool. All right, we can start whenever. Good. All right, great. So I will call this meeting to order. Thank you everybody for being here for the 2021 AGM. Now it's 2022. So first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to make the land acknowledgement. So as we gather here today to celebrate the work of our peers in the craft industry, let us pause to remember that in this region we all live and work and create on lands that are by law the unceded territories of the Wabanaki peoples, predominantly the lands of the Mi'kmaq, Wolastoqey, and Passamaquoddy. May we live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship with all its people. So thank you for that. Thank you, like I said again, for everybody being here, some board members, the general membership, all the staff, and everybody. Thank you. Very first thing we have to do is adopt the agenda. So the agenda has been online, and we have a copy here if you haven't been able to see it. But I need someone, if someone could make a motion to adopt the agenda. Thank you, Ralph. And if someone could second that motion to adopt the agenda. Thank you, Tracy. Excellent. So agenda adopted. Next thing is the acceptance of the minutes from the previous AGM. And same thing, I need someone to make a motion to accept those minutes. Please. Thanks, Matt. And someone to second that. Thank you, Ralph. Excellent. So the agenda is adopted and the minutes have been accepted. Thank you very much. We have no business arising from that. Does anybody have any questions about any of that? Great. So then I'm just going to move right on into the President's report. So if you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So we have been living with the pandemic since March of 2020, and it has presented craft organizations in the craft community across the globe with considerable challenges. Despite this, we have continued to support our members in ways that benefit them. We have managed to provide opportunities for those interested in the digital and the online world while still keeping our roots and focus on the traditional events and operations of our organization. First, I'd like to give a big thank you to all our dedicated staff. Without them, we would not have been able to make it through this year in as great a shape as we have. So, yeah, thank you. So to our Executive Director, Allie Murphy, our Events and Projects Manager, Fatima Pagdawala, our Communications and Marketing Manager, Emily Ryu, and our Online Shop Coordinator, Ann Stillwell. Allie and Fatima continue to impress me every day with their dedication to Craft and Bee, so thank you. And Emily and Ann have taken their skill with digital platforms and have elevated Craft and Bee's digital presence in a time where it couldn't be more important. So thank you, and we give another round of applause, please. Thank you all very much. And thank you for making my job very easy. I just have to show up every once in a while and do my thing, so thank you. Thank you to our board of directors, our committee members, and our members who have volunteered their time to help us. Without your collective effort, it wouldn't have been possible. I'd also like to give a special thanks to our board members who are leaving. So that will be Renata Bertez. Thank you, Renata. You joined the board when I did, and you were our treasurer, so I know everything you've done, so thank you for everything you put in. Melanie Hamilton, she's not here, but she is leaving the board, and she's done a lot of work helping us with our strategic planning, so thank you, Melanie. And Caitlin White, who has been on the board longer than I've been on the board, so thank you, Caitlin, for everything you've done. Your expertise and dedication we missed. So thank you all. Thank you, past our new members. Our members are leaving, excuse me, and I'll open the floor to Allie to give the executive director's report.
Hi, everybody. Am I in the right spot here? Oh, there's tape. I was going to say there should be tape on it. Okay, better. So hi everybody, I think you all know me, I'm Alison Murphy. Je vais juste dire en français s'il y a des personnes sur l'internet et tu veux l'information qu'on présente aujourd'hui, c'est tout sur notre site d'internet, alors tu peux avoir l'information là. Mais on va faire la présentation en anglais aujourd'hui. So, yeah, thank you everybody for being here. So in the reports that follow, you will hear from a lot about the programming we've done, from Atlantic Vernacular to the Shopcraft NB, to different projects like that. But I thought in my executive director's report, I just go over some of the things that fall slightly outside of like our main programming. So in 2021, we worked closely with both the Canadian Crafts Federation, as Megan Black has just kind of done a presentation on the digital side of the programming that they've been doing. That's been very important for us. I've been sitting on the digital strategies committee for that and working with them, learning lots about digital strategies and how that affects the craft sector in Canada and how that's going to impact how we move forward as an organization and help our members with that. Along with the CCF and all of the other provincial crafts councils in Canada. In 2021, we undertook a program with Fabrique 1840, and the artists that were involved in that saw significant revenue. That was with the Simon's department store, and that was a national initiative to get work into new audiences. I also sit on the board of directors for Craft Alliance Atlantic, which allows us as Craft MB to help develop programming, which then influences our work and what we do, but it benefits our membership and allows us to be connected very much with the work they do. They do a lot for exporting and wholesale. So within that, I'm the president of their board currently and was in 2021 as well. And we had really hoped, Craft Alliance Atlantic, one of the things that they run is the Craft East Trade Show in Halifax every February. The last couple of years, that's been had to be canceled because of COVID. So 2021, although we had really hoped to do that and sought funding for that and were lined up to do that, we did have to cancel that program. So then we switched our efforts in the wholesale world kind of to promoting, helping artists get onto their portal. They have a portal for anybody who's looking to do wholesale and for buyers to come and search through the wholesale listings of members that are, artists that are involved in that. We had also hoped and had sought funding to go to SOFA Chicago and Collect UK, which is more on the high-end gallery side work of things, where we would take a number of artists and work to collect in London, England, and present the work to galleries and try to help the artists that are working at that level, and in that capacity allow them to access global audiences and find representation and buyers outside of Canada. Again, sadly, that had to be canceled. These are just going to be postponed. None of these programs are gone forever. It's just been a COVID thing for 2021. Neither of those were possible early this year. I'm also on and have been on the steering committee for the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion committee that Craft Alliance has been working on. So we're doing a lot of work with that and advancing my knowledge and understanding of that. And we've been working with a consultation company called Archipel. So they've gone through a lot of Craft MB's documents and policies. We're just waiting for the reports back on that, but that's going to help inform how we move forward with things to be a more inclusive organization and to adapt the language and all kinds of things within the organization. And I think that will align really well with all of the strategic planning efforts that we're working on. 2021 also saw Craft MB sign a memorandum of understanding with the New Brunswick Crafts Foundation and Maui Wabanaki Artist Collective, and basically stating that we really want to help support Indigenous arts and connect with organizations that are doing that in whatever capacity we are needed and that we can offer that support. Staff throughout 2021 have worked a hybrid version of in-person and at-home remote working. I think we're getting pretty good with our Google platforms and Slack and doing the remote working and understanding how to work some of our days in the office and some of our days at home. So currently, and how we had operated through most of 2021 was that we have taken on a space at the Charlotte Street Art Center. It's a temporary fix, but we're there 3 mornings a week as a staff together, and then the other days we're working from home. And we'll stay there, I think, in that space until we have our strategic plan and we can kind of see what the next step is for Craft MB, but it works well for us. Staff for 2021 consisted of myself as the executive director, Fatima Pagadwala as project manager. Carrie Nash was with us until the fall of 2021, and then Emily Ryu took over the position of communications and marketing manager. And Stillwell, through Canada Summer Jobs, began work in the fall, has been really focused on the Shopcraft MB platform and digital technologies and analytics and helping us with a lot of digital transformation, which is wonderful. And I can't stress enough how amazing the staff are that we have right now. I don't know what I would do with the ladies we've got. It's an incredibly strong staff, and a lot gets accomplished because of that. So thank you, ladies. And also Emily made this amazing spread, so I just have to point out, like, come on, really good. Through 2021, Janet White Accounting continued to do bookkeeping with us, and Andy Lenahan and Associates prepared this year's financial audit once again. I'm also very grateful to the board for all their work in 2021 and look forward to completing the next strategic plan that we'll hope to get done here before the end of 2022. And thank you again. I know Matt thanked Melanie, Renata, and Caitlin for your time and effort on the board, but I also want to reiterate that. So thank you. That's it for me.
So I may have forgot to mention, my name is Matt, by the way, Matt Krebs. So next we have Fatima. She's going to come up and talk about the exhibitions committee, her exhibitions report.
We're just waiting for the presentation to begin. I'm presenting the Exhibitions Committee report for 2021. It's mainly focused on the Biennale Atlantic Vernacular. And to understand what we did in 2021, I think just a recap of where the project began would be really nice to know. Can we just go to the next slide? And the next slide, please. So this project initiated in 2019, where we had big plans for this one. We selected Gillian Dykeman as a curator from 7 curator applications, and then we opened the call for artists for the first time across all across Canada craft councils. And we selected 27 artists. That is, Gillian Dykeman selected 27 artists out of all the submitted artist applications. We had Sue Sinclair and Jenna Lynn Albert who helped us in forming the call for poets. It is a collaborative project where we had craft and poetry collaborating to voice Atlantic vernacular. When we started planning this project, this project was supposed to tour across galleries of Atlantic Canada and then go on to Germany for the Canadian Pavilion for the book fair. All of those plans came to a halt thanks to the pandemic. We put this project on a halt till we were ready again we just wanted the pandemic to settle down, see what our future plans were, and when we were ready to get it again. Fast forward to 2021. So when we started reviving, in the beginning of 2021, when things started settling a bit with the pandemic, things started to look a little more hopeful. That's when we started talking about our talks to revive the project. And as most of our projects is mainly dependent on funding, we decided to first start looking for funding and then make the plans. In the beginning of 2021, things were still very uncertain with the pandemic, and planning the logistics of touring this exhibition looked intimidating. That's when we decided to look for options, and we found digital grants which were much more supportive, which allowed us to pay artists and present our exhibition digitally. This also allowed us to pay artists, curator, poets fees that we needed for CARFAC, because initially the poets was going to look for fees for themselves, but that changed with everything after the pandemic. So then Craft NB was responsible to find funding to fund the whole project, to pay all the artist fees for the presentation and everything that we had to do. We were successful in getting $100,000 from the Canada Council for Arts for a digital presentation and $14,000 from the province of New Brunswick. Once we had enough funding to support the project, that's when we started reaching out to all the artists to find out if they still had the work available and if they were still interested in presenting their work through a digital platform. This was made clear, and we tried to communicate as much as we could with artists and poets all over Canada. It was a little difficult logistically to plan everything, but I'm really thankful to the team that I had who really helped me do what we wanted to achieve with this project. Once we had confirmation from all the artists that they were still interested and the work was available to be presented on a digital platform, we did further outreach to include more artists and be a little more diverse. We managed to get two indigenous and one black artist to participate in the project, which increased the total number of artists to 30. Sue and Jenna started working on hiring poets, and they did an excellent job in getting us 29 poets who worked in varied languages. We have poetry included in this exhibition which are written in Mi'kmaq, English, French, and Spanish. Every artist and poet had the choice to write their artist statement and poetry in a language of their choice and then get it translated in one of the other languages. Once we had all the artists confirmed, as artists and poet confirmed, we started working on the project. We hosted a photography workshop. I just wanted to get this picture that we had artists all across Atlantic Canada, and there's some outside of New Brunswick and Atlantic region as well. So everything for this project has been hosted digitally. And we ran a photography workshop because most of the artists, we needed to equip them to start photographing their work at home with the tools which are available to them. So Sarah Sati did a wonderful job in hosting a photography workshop, which is now available on a newly established YouTube platform. And you should go check it out. We have included 35 poems written in Mi'kmaq, which is also presented in hieroglyph. Can you just go to the next slide, please? Two Spanish poems which have been translated to English, one English poem which has been translated in Mi'kmaq. 3 English poems are still being translated to Wolastoq because due to the complexity of the poems. We've got 4 French poems in English and 23 English poems in French. All of these poems, the original versions, are accompanied with an audio in the poet's original voice. Usually when can you please play the video for this? So this is what the Atlantic Vernacular platform looks like, and there are all the tabs that you can access. But I just want to show you how do you access the shop from here. So usually when we are touring the exhibition, all the artists have the option to have their work available for sale. And we wanted to give them the opportunity to do that as well, even if it was a digital platform. So the artists had the option to have their work available for sale through our Shopcraft NB platform, which also allowed a Shopcraft NB platform to be connected to Atlantic Vernacular website, just increasing more views and getting more public and more eyes on it. Can we go to the next slide, please? With most of our Biennale exhibitions, we do have a high quality catalog which accompanies the exhibition and makes art accessible and promotes an exhibition. While working with the poets, we were introduced to broadsides, which are used in literary arts, and found this a great way to present this collaborative exhibition. So what the broadsides are, typically it has the craft work and it has the poetry, which has been written specifically to that craft work, and it has been presented in a great digital format. Usually, broadsides are traditionally made in letterpress, but because letterpress, we were facing difficulties in printing the craft work, we decided to design them digitally, and we hired Rihanna Howard to design our broadsides. These broadsides are currently available for sale at the Shopcraft NB platform. Oh, and yes, we've got them over here in person if you're interested. Can you go to typically 2021 would have been a beneath the surface year, but because that had everything pushed because of the pandemic and we were still rolling through our Biennale, Fundy National Park came up with an opportunity to take Atlantic Vernacular to Fundy. So we opened the call to our artists, to our selected artists and poets, and invited them to spend 3 days in Fundy National Park so that they could respond to Fundy's importance in the Atlantic region. In the end, we managed to take 2 poets and 3 artists for 3 days, and they have all collaborated on, the pairs amongst them have collaborated a response to Fundy, and that has been included in the Atlantic Vernacular exhibition, and it's available on the Atlantic Vernacular website. The project suffered a setback in the initial timeline due to multiple members going on medical leaves, and that pushed the opening from January 2022 to March 2022. But we did launch and live streamed it on YouTube, thanks to Nandi. We live streamed it through YouTube, and which included a church oral talk and an artist talk. We are now scheduling 3 more artist collaborative talks, which will be promoted, which will be available via YouTube again, and the promotions of the exhibition will continue until January 2023. The next artist talk has been scheduled for June 6th at 6 p.m. and it will be available via YouTube. Check out our Instagram. Emily will do a great job promoting them. Craft NB really appreciates the work put in by the poets, artists, translators, curator, website designer, graphic designer staff, and everyone who helped in realizing this project in such trying times. It wasn't easy, but I'm glad we made it possible. It takes a lot of effort in bringing a project this size to life, and support that everyone has shown has meant a lot to everyone working behind the scenes. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatima. Next, can I have Matt Watkins to come do the jury report?
Thanks, Matt. I'm also Matt, no relation. This is just a quick jurying report for 2021. So usually the jurying committee meets a few times a year to look at new applicants and jury them in or not. This year we had 3 meetings. Usually there's 2 regular ones in the spring and fall, and the past few years we've done an additional one for Atlantic Vernacular or Beneath the Surface coming up next year, etc. This year we had a total of 30 applicants, so an average of 10 per session, which is a bit up from 2020, and we accepted 18. So seeing some growth there. And the quality of the work is very high as well. So just a thank you to all of the applicants for applying, especially those who did it multiple times. And congratulations to the new members. So we're delighted to have you on board. Thanks to the members who participated in the jurying session. So usually we form a committee each time we do a session made up of experts, current craft council members, and it's great to have their expertise and help with making decisions. And thank you to the staff, Craft NB staff, who facilitate our tasks. They do all of the preliminary work that involves disseminating information, collecting the work, preparing a little snack for us, all that stuff. So, it makes our job a lot easier. So thank you to the staff for that.
Thank you, Matt. Next up, we have the festivals report, which was prepared by me. So it's just a quick report. In 2021, we had our annual Summerfest and Christmas Festival shows. The Summer Festival took place in Gagetown, and we had 18 vendors. The Christmas Festival, the weather was all right. It was kind of a damp, cold day, but it was good. Everyone was there. We had a good time, so it went off pretty good. The Christmas Festival made its return and was back full force. Our vendor registration numbers were lower than in past years, so we had 20 registered in 2021. In 2019, which was prior to COVID, we had 44 vendors, mostly related because of COVID and hesitation from people to sign up and register. However, the vendors that did attend saw some of the best sales in the past years. So 2021 average per vendor was $4,146, whereas in 2019 the average per vendor was $3,293 in sales. So less vendors, but the vendors who did attend had higher sales. So all in all, it was a pretty good success. That's all I have for the festivals report. Next we have Ann Stillwell, and she is going to do a report on the Shop Craft NB.
Stillwell, and I'm the Shopcraft NB coordinator. The Shopcraft NB platform was first launched during the fall of 2020 after receiving funding from the province of New Brunswick in response to the pandemic as an effort to move online. The funding was enough to kickstart the project in the summer season and carry through until the launch in the fall, which wrapped up by Christmas. During 2021, the shop remained open and available to the artists and public, but staff capacity and funding hindered the growth of the shop. And the platform was there, but no one to focus on the project, which led for it to be at a standstill throughout most of the year. Fast forward to the fall of 2021, with the help of Canada Summer Jobs Grant, I was brought on in September to maintain the growth of Shopcraft NB. My efforts were used for corresponding with the current sellers, requesting feedback and assisting with their needs, as well as outreach to new sellers and assisting with the setup of their new shops. I worked closely with our web developer, Danielle, from Market Space to address a long list of platform issues. Some of them have been resolved, some of them are still pending. Our marketing and communications manager, Emily, and I worked together to plan social media marketing campaigns to drive traffic through artist highlights and photograph Craft NB apparel, which was then used to update listings and used for marketing materials. The apparel is Canadian-made, locally designed by Fredericton graphic artist Carrie Nash and printed in St. John by Sunnybank Print House. Using the existing merch designs, we connected with a Canadian-based sticker company to add new products to our merch shop, which would have a high profit margin and are also excellent for promotional giveaways and promotion for the organization, which are also for sale over there. I set up Google Analytics to track data flowing through the site to better understand customer behavior. I connected with the province of New Brunswick's marketing initiative, Inspired by NB, to share data and drive traffic. They continue to be very supportive and encouraging of our efforts with the platform and continue to drive traffic to our site. In January, I began writing the Canada Council application for Digital Generator Stream 2 grant to obtain substantial funding for the shop. If we are successful, this will bring in $100,000 for the project. The funding will be major for the shop growth in 2022 and 2023. Graphic designer Rihanna Howard worked with Craft NB on creating broadsides for the Atlantic Vernacular project, which is listed on our shops. I just did that in January and February, also available to purchase. And yeah, for the project. So for the stats, just to kind of give a rundown for the previous year, we started off really well in 2020. Obviously, we had the funding with the province, and that really helped kickstart it. So we had over $4,000 in sales. That funding did run out in the beginning of 2021, and without much staff capacity to work on that project, it kind of was at a standstill. So we really saw a decrease in sales at only 1,500. I was brought on in just the fall, so it kind of took me a while to get that up and running. But so far in 2022, we do have 18 sales. We're seeing really good data coming through on Google Analytics. It did take 3 months for it to come through and for us to kind of understand the traffic and really just understand how Google Analytics works. But we're really happy with the numbers that are coming in. We've had like over 10,000 sessions on our site just in the past couple months. So things are looking really good, and we have lots of social media marketing that we've been doing, all kinds of reels, all kinds of video content, and we have lots of plans to do more, especially if we're successful with the Canada Council grant. So it's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anne. And I mean, I know Allie couldn't speak more to it, but I know other craft councils in Atlantic Canada are really impressed, at least maybe nationwide, are impressed with our digital shop platform. So thank you, Anne. And you're doing a really good job with that. Next, we have Emily Ryu, who is going to do the marketing report.
Thanks, Matt. I'm Emily. We haven't met. I think we've met everyone. I was brought on in the fall of 2021, so I haven't been around that long, but I have done a lot. In 2021, many projects were still on hold due to the ever-present COVID virus. Craft NB was still in planning for the 2020 Biennale exhibition, Atlantic Vernacular, and finally we were able to hold the summer festival in the Village Green in Gagetown. Carrie Nash worked on marketing initiatives specific to the summer festival. She created content for our social media platforms using her strength in graphic design and photography to create a brand kit, which helped maintain a cohesive flow to all the promotions for the event. The lull in outside projects gave Carrie time to create 2 new designs for the Craft ME merchandise, which is available for purchase. One of them being the Love Your Craft design, and the other was Support Your Local Pot Dealer, which has been a fan favorite. All designs are currently available to shop online and here in person. Emily Ryu, I'm going to talk about myself in third person, apparently. Our current marketing communications manager was hired on in September 2021. She has a background in jewelry design and professional experience in management with focus on fundraising, marketing, and promotions, and content creation. I'll stop talking in third person. I arrived just in time to tackle the documentation of the Atlantic Vernacular Residency in Fundy National Park, and then jumped in headfirst to focus on the Christmas festival. I began implementing a regular posting schedule for social media content, posting juried member highlights, really trying to shine a focus on the members that we do have. Craft MB promotions, Shop Craft MB promotions, which I work very closely with Anne to create a lot of content for, and relevant information from outside affiliations like the CCF, Craft Alliance Atlantic, and supporting other craft councils as well. Although we do not have data for the last couple of years on our social media growth, the data that I do have shows that in 2018 we had a total of 2,757 followers on Facebook. Today we have a total of 4,363 followers on Facebook and another 55 on Instagram, which I think is like 55, 60 or something now. 5 more, very exciting. For a total of close to 10,000 followers on our social media accounts across the platforms. After COVID hit and a lot of events were moved online, social media marketing became more prevalent and more necessary than ever. We have used this to our advantage, expanding the reach of our Christmas festival to almost 70,000 people. I reinstated the Craft MB blog. I've since been using the blog to keep the public up to date with ongoing projects, upcoming events, newsletter recaps. Monthly newsletters have also been reinstated. And I have slowly been reworking the Craft MB website, giving it a new, more modern appearance, using our brand kit, adding more relevant information, and in 2022 I have begun translating our entire website to be more inclusive as a whole. So these are some marketing strategies that we implemented in 2021. So Crafty Spires Expo, open call for applications through social media advertising for wholesale and exporting workshops, digital ads, for jurying sessions, which were held in spring and fall, open call for submissions through social media advertising, information on craftnb.ca with all jurying information, summer festival, social media advertising, paid social media boosts, vendor spotlights, vendor map at the entrance of the event. That is all guesses up to this point. I assume that is what happened. I was not here to see it, but I came in at the Christmas festival, so from here I know that we had print and social media ads with Brunswick News. We did a giveaway with CBC. We also did an Instagram giveaway, which had over 200 entries. We did a press release to many news outlets. A lot of banners and signs around the cruise terminal where the event happened. Road signs along Water Street. We had a big neon sign on the highway. Tons and tons of social media posts and some boosts. Lots of good stuff. Our raffle basket on site was a huge hit. We also sourced some sponsors for the 16-page buyer guide that we did. And then Atlantic Vernacular, we did a lot of photo and video documentation Anne and I did in Fundy at the residency. We also filmed, I didn't put them in there, but we did film interviews with all of the artists and poets that were involved in this project. Photography for intent of promotions and advertisements. Social media posts during the residency, worked with Jillian, the curator, and Rihanna to plan promotions and reinstate the Craft NB blog. And then forward to the future, we've done a lot of things this year already. Atlantic Vernacular has launched, and we've worked a lot on Promotions for that. Beneath the Surface residency is coming up, which is very exciting. During sessions, membership packages have been sent out. We did a lot of work for those. Social media posts, marketing and highlights, blog posts, project documentation, Christmas Festival. Seems like it's far away, but it's not. It's coming. We're working on a summer project right now, and much, much more. And don't forget, Shop Craft and Bee merch and broadsides are available for purchase. And we also have our craft auction that we've been working really hard on, so if you want to purchase tickets, you can do that. For anyone who's watching, you can do that online at craftandbee.ca. Anyone who's here in person, we take cash, debit, or credit.
Do you want to describe that a little bit, how that works?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm back. So we're holding a craft auction that has 23 pieces from juried members past and present, and including our shop as well. A wide range of items, all beautiful pieces. How it works is you purchase tickets as if it was a raffle, but it's kind of in a silent auction format. So each piece has a jar next to it, and here it does on the website. There's no jars, it's just a picture. All the information about each piece is on the website, so it will have the value, the artist, and a description of the piece. So you purchase tickets. You can get one for $10, you can get 6 for $50, or 15 for $100, and then you pick which items you'd like to put your tickets into. Or you can put them all into one if you want and win that Maya Padrov piece that I have my eye on. Or you can not do that so that I can win it. But there's a ton of pieces and it goes to a great cause. I know we might be a little biased, but it does go to support Craft NB and it will help us in the Beneath the Surface residency project. So purchase your tickets now. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Next, I'll do the governance report. This will be really quick too. In 2021, so 2021 was a year of planning from a governance perspective. So we currently do not have a strategic plan. It ran out just before COVID in 2019, 2020. Took us up to 2020. So we currently do not have a strategic plan, so we have taken the steps to start developing that strategic plan in 2022. And now that it is 2022, we are working on that. So with financial support from LearnSphere, the board and staff decided to reach out to consultant and trainer Wendy Keats to provide board training and help with strategic planning. So that's all I have about the governance report. Next, I will get Renata Bertez or Tracy. One of the two are going to come up and give the financials report.
Hi everyone, I'm Renata Vitez. I'm a current treasurer for the 2021 year. And yeah, so that's the boring part, but hang on with me. Very important part though. The financial report it's available on the website for everyone who would like to take a look. But I'm just gonna briefly go on some topics that I feel that's important to share. And here on the revenue, looking at our financial statements, we see an overall revenue decrease, but that it has to do with the scheduled revenues, gives a breakdown that this revenue is in detail. However, the PNB grant amount for 2021 is lower by 35,000 approximately to the different grants for projects from 2021. Just reminding you again, 2021 was still an odd year with the part of COVID and things slowly going back to it. So that's why we see a big difference. And the 2020, it was definitely another year to take, to comparison to any other years. So the difference is due to different grants from the projects in 2020 with the digital platform grant, Crafties, and Collect. The PNB core funding of $60,000 is the same as the prior year, as that's something that we often get it. Despite the difference, we were able to offset some of the losses in revenue by the Canada Council grant and the revenue obtained in the Summer Festival and Christmas craft sale. Our base funding of $60,205 from the province was in place in 2021, and we received federal wages subsidies under 2 programs in 2021. the CEWs up in October 2021, and the CRHP, which is the Canada Recovery Hire Program, with the COVID related grants in November and December. Those two grants have been phased out while we may be able to claim for some CHP in 2022. This amount will be significantly higher than last year. The core funding and the federal wages subsidies allowed us to maintain staff and work new ways in providing service to the members. So that was very important, and we're very grateful for the grants and helps from the government. Speaking of expenses, again, if you compare it to the previous year, COVID, we didn't have a lot of going on, and that's why overall our expenses were more than in 2020, totally in 183,339. We saw an increase in some of the expenses such as translations, artist fees, accounting fees, and costs related to crafts and festivals, of course, with the coming back of some of those festivals. The increases are mainly due to lessening of COVID restrictions, and we were able to once again run programs and events. Artist fees of 28,120 were related to the CARFAC fees. They were paid to participants of the Atlantic Vernacular Project, and these are expenses that should be beneficial over a long term. So the balance sheet, as you can see there, gives us an overview of our financial position of a Craft and Bee at the end of 2021. We continue to be in a good financial situation, a position of Craft and Bee, and with the bank accounts balance at the year end, excluding the restricted funds, totaling in 67,713. And as well, receivables, which total approximately 6,217, and those amounts were due to the CEW programs and HST. The large increase of cash in 2021 is due to the money received from grants, and that has not been spent in projects at the year end, and then is offset amounts, including deferred revenue. Accounts payable represent expenses that we were incurred in 2021 but were outstanding at the year end. The major items include wages, remittances, payables, and trade payables. Deferred revenue relates to money that we received but and that has not been earned yet, which are in our case as an organization that happens a lot with grants that are still waiting to kick in, and that includes 3 months of provincial funding, $50,000 and $60,000 and $169 from the Canada Council of Arts, as well as the 2022 membership fees that were received in 2021. Last but not least, we restricted funds of 10,243 were reserved for a future storefront, and that money is safe and sound on the bank, waiting the finalizing of the strategic planning and what we're going to do moving forward, and the interest earned on the cash deposit into accounts during this year. So that's the total there. And there is an accumulated surplus, represents the amount by which our assets are greater than our liabilities. At the year end was approximately 85,000. This is a good indicator of good financial health of our organization. And this strong cash position provides us a buffer against difficult times, as we have seen in 2021, and that would be very important to maintain as we going forward. And lastly, going forward in 2022 will be a challenging year as we are still facing out COVID affecting us financially, but hopefully for a lesser degree as the previous years, and as the year goes on. The loss of the federal wage subsidy due to the COVID issue will be reduced our revenues in 2022, but we are optimistic that as the province reopens and we can rebuild our revenues from the traditional ways and events such as festivals and memberships, we'll be able to continue our good financial health for the organization. So that's all for me. So financial statements are great.
The next thing,
They're also
sure.
available on the website.
So these are the financial statements. That's what Renata just went over. So maybe if you could they're available on the website. If you could run through them, Nadia.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. This is basically the long version of what I just said, but like I said, it's available on the website. Feel free to take a look, and if you have any questions, we are here to help in our best of capability. Yeah. I'm sorry, I should have said like go on, but it was so pretty. I mean, it's easier the main page, but that's the financial statement that it's founded online. So, yeah, if there is any questions.
So does anybody have any questions about any of the financial statements or any of the stuff that we're not just talking about?
Yeah, but the main thing is to keep up. It's like we're in a very good situation. We do have some money in the bank that we hopefully, as we finish the strategic planning, hopefully we'll be able to move forward with the store location or even office to better serve our public. And hopefully all of the grants that we applied this year will continue giving us the support that we need. And also, I just want to step in again and say thank you so much, my finance committee, which is Tracy O'Brien and Ralph Seeley. They were a very important part of this, helped me out with the financial report and giving advice. Both of them, they have a lot of experience in accounting for many, many years, so they're very capable people. And as I'm stepping down for next year, Tracy O'Brien will be taking over as a treasurer. She has more than 20 years experience in accounting, and she will be a great fit for this role. And I thank you so much, Tracy, for that.
So if there's no questions, could somebody make a motion to accept the financial statements, please?
Can I make a motion? Can I make a motion?
Yeah, Renata, great, excellent. Could somebody second that motion? Yeah. Okay, great. Ralph, thank you. So motion approved, thank you. Next thing is we have to appoint the auditor. So the auditor's name is... There we go. So could someone make a motion to appoint Nightingale McCann Associates for the auditor for the next year? Thank you, Kim. Someone second that? Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Ann. Great, excellent. So motion approved, motion passed. The next thing, I'll hand it over to Allie Murphy to talk about looking forward. Thank you.
Great, thanks everyone. So yeah, I always find at the AGM, it's nice looking back, but it's also kind of nice to hear what's coming up and where we're headed. Not that we have the strategic plan, but we do know some of the things that are coming up this year. So as Fatima had mentioned, the Atlantic Vernacular, promotions for that and artist talks are still gonna keep moving forward for that throughout this year and into the next year. We're working with ArtsLink to develop programming to connect Atlantic Vernacular with their arts symposium that they're doing Arts Atlantic in the fall. So we'll be a part of that in one capacity or another with Atlantic Vernacular. Shopcraft MB, the grant, Anne has worked so hard on it. Has been a beast of a grant to get out the door, but that's finally out. So we're really hopeful that we can keep moving the online shop forward. So I just wanted to put it out there that next time anybody's looking for a gift or just wants to do some online retail therapy, go check out the online shop. Please keep us in mind for that because there's wonderful things and new things being added to that all the time. Beneath the Surface is coming at us full force now. We're getting really excited about all the planning for that. So this year, in the past, we've done it as the residency in the spring and work has been due in the fall. This year, we're doing it a little bit differently. We're going into Fundy National Park in the fall, and where artists will have the winter to work, and then work will be ready in the spring. And we're really focusing this year's Beneath the Surface on installation-based work, which is very new for a lot of our members and a lot of the participants, but that's exciting, trying to push the community of craftspeople into thinking more along the lines of installation work and just pushing their work into new ways of being. We've also gone after funding to start investigating greener ways of working as well, and encouraging the artists participating in that to be thinking about the environmental aspects of their work, of the materials they're using, of what they're creating. And so hopefully we'll be able to provide support, but definitely be providing knowledge on the environmental side of it and kind of bringing that piece of it further forward. If we're successful in all of our massive grants, we've been reaching out to other national parks across Canada and into the United States with the project, and they are very keen to work with us. So we have good contacts now at Grasslands National Park in Saskatchewan, at Gulf Islands National Park in BC, and Redwood National Park in California, which we're very excited about. If we get all the funding, we're hoping we'll be able to take a hybrid exhibition, do a documentary of the event or the residency, of the work, of the installations, take that and some of the physical pieces on tour along with some of the artists who experience those places and further their connection with national parks and the scientific side of things. So it's the engagement between the science side of things and the craft thing is that residency is really fun for that. So we're running at that and got lots of great things. That's also led us into conversations with the Conservation Council of New Brunswick. So that's a new partnership, not really partnership yet, but like new relationship that's being formed. So we're talking with them. They're working on a symposium called Electric Love, thinking about greener technologies and how arts and arts activism can play into the work they're doing at the Conservation Council. So I think that's on the horizon as well, as kind of pairing activists and artists and being able to think conceptually about the way that we're doing stuff. Prior to COVID, we have been talking a lot about an incubation space and where we could help subsidize equipment usage for artists and provide a shared studio space and mentorship incubation type programming to support the community. COVID put a huge halt on that. We're back to talking regularly with the Ville. They have a huge space, the Ville Cooperative, and they're very keen to develop something along those lines. So there's regular weekly meetings between myself with the New Brunswick College of Craft and Design and the Ville, looking at how we're going to work that program, how that's going to develop, what that can look like. But we are still moving forward with the idea of the incubation shared studio space. We're just figuring out how that's even possible and what grants we can apply. So that's a long range one, but it's still moving. Collect, which is the big show in London, England. We're hopeful that we can get back to that this year. Ideally, the plan was to be able to do a couple of educational missions and then take artists and work to show there. If we can get the funding and all the pandemic behaves itself, then we will be able to pick that up. That'll be early into our next fiscal, so that'll be early in 2023, but we'll be looking for funding and starting to work on that project this year. Crafty, same thing, early next year. That'll be more the wholesale side of things. So ideally, if COVID doesn't mess up our plans, then we'll be back there with the New Brunswick Artisans booth, helping artists get into wholesale and walking them through that process. I continue and will continue to sit on the digital strategy committee with the CCF, which is a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to all of the digital information and where we head with digital things that comes out of that. Christmas show, I wanted to mention that the sign up for that is already up on the website. We have over 10 people, I think, now signed up for that already. So the sooner you get yourself registered, the more you can put in what you're looking for the perfect booth space. And we're like, it's coming. So I encourage anybody who hasn't signed up for that to do so. I think it's going to be a good show. Summer show has been paused for this year. We really just time-wise with COVID, and because the summer show has always been a question of like, how can we do it optimally and how can we get more people involved in it? The plan is that that's not going to happen this year, but we're going to take this year to really plan for next year what the summer show could look like, where we house it, how many days it is, whether it's inside or outside, all of those big questions. With strategic planning, there is a survey that is coming up very soon. The questions for that are done. That'll be out in the next week or two, which will help dictate strategic planning, which will also help dictate what we do for our summer show next year. So the summer show will probably roll back around, but it is going to be just dependent on what the feedback from that is, and then we will figure out what that looks like. But there will be some summer programming. There's actually a new summer thing that just came across my desk that I haven't even talked to the board about yet. So just keep your eyes out for something. Padobin is the First Light Symposium. It's an Indigenous artist gathering that's happening in June, so we will have a presence there and be connecting with the artists that are taking part in that event. I'm continuing to do the work with Craft Alliance Atlantic in equity, diversity, and inclusion training. Just did an anti-oppression workshop. Really curious about how we can evolve our very old organization and our documents and our juring process and all of the policies and everything, how we can be more inclusive and how can we evolve the organization as we move forward. I also want to point out that ArtsLink videos, we did these a couple of years ago. Craft MB and ArtsLink teamed up to create some professional development workshops. They're available for free on our website. So anybody who's looking for information on shipping or marketing your work, or I can't even remember all the ones that are on there, photography, and there's one other one. But those are all available for free on our website. There's also, as some of the staff had mentioned, our new YouTube channel. So the artist talk that we did for Atlantic Vernacular and the launch is available on there. So is the workshop that Sarah Sarti did on photographing your work with basically the things that you would have at home. So I welcome you to have a look at that. HR stuff, policy development, strategic planning, all of that stuff is really going to be a focus of 2022. As I mentioned, the survey that's coming, and when it arrives, please share it far and wide. It is not just meant for Craft MB current members. It is meant for past members, current members, future members, anybody who's part of the crafts community, to just give us information on what you want and where you want the organization to be headed and how to help steer that. Auction, fundraiser, Emily talked about that. Jurying will come back around in the fall, so anybody who's interested in jurying in, that will happen again in the fall. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that we soon will be looking for volunteers for our committees for this year, so that we will put those out in the next couple of weeks, looking for those volunteer opportunities to participate in helping us guide the exhibitions and the festivals and all of those things, because we love having members participate in those conversations and help steer the programming. So that's looking forward, lots on the go. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Allie. Next thing on the agenda is new business. I don't have any new business. Anybody here have any new business they want to bring up? No? Excellent. So the next thing is the nomination and election of the new board. So we have some videos from current returning board members, new potential board members. So we'll play those videos. And then there's a couple who don't have videos, so I'll just let you know who those are, and then we'll go from that after we see the videos. So.
Thank you, Fires.
Oh, nice.
Hello, bonjour. My name is Steph. My pronouns are she, her. I live in Saint-Joseph de Madawaska, which is a small francophone community outside of Edmundston, in a house that looks like a spaceship. I work with stained glass and make mobile sun catchers and panels with a modern twist. I'm professionally trained as a nurse, but lucky enough to only work part-time at the hospital and have plenty of energy to work on my art. I fell in love with stained glass 4 years ago, and it's been my greatest teacher ever since. I love working with this medium, and I love sharing my work with others even more. My business bloomed during the pandemic when people were looking for more light and color in their daily lives. It's been a way for me to express myself and to touch people's arts in ways I never could have imagined. Living in the northwest of New Brunswick can sometimes be isolating, but with my art, I have found a way to reach out and connect with like-minded folks. I'm still new to the craft and art community, but I can't stop being amazed by the talent, generosity, and drive of its members. I'm very grateful to meet you all. Thanks for listening. Au revoir.
Hi, I'm Tracy O'Brien, and I'm running for position on the board. I joined the board last year, and I served on both the HR committee and the finance committee. I have over 15 years experience in the accounting field, and then in 2018 I decided to follow my passion, and I went back to school to MBCCD, and I received my textile design diploma in 2020. Currently I have a studio at the Sharp Street Arts Center where I do painting and textiles. You can see some of my work at Tracy O'Brien's studio on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, my name is Heather McKegg, and I am a flame-worked borosilicate glass artist living rurally outside of Sussex, New Brunswick. I've been on the Craft MB board as their secretary for 1 year now, and I love the community and education it has given me. My glass art revolves around themes of environmental conservation, connection, and diversity. I'm currently working on a solo exhibition that will be at the Beaverbrook Art Gallery in Fredericton this coming winter. I'm so thankful to be on the Craft MB board for another year. Thank you to Allison Murphy and the wonderful staff for all of your
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Cook. I'm the owner of Handworks Gallery in St. John, New Brunswick. I have owned the gallery for 4 years, having purchased it in 2018, managed it for a year prior to that. My background has been in gallery management for over 10 years now, but I also am a painter myself, and I have an education in commercial photography and digital imaging, having worked as a photographer in London, England, but really I'm so happy to be back in New Brunswick supporting New Brunswick artists.
Hi everyone, welcome to my studio. I am James Nightingale. I graduated from the craft school in 1991 with a major in textiles. I am a tapestry artist living in the village of Minto. I have previous experience on several craft council boards, including being president of the Craft Foundation. Moving to the future, I would like to use my experience to support craftspeople as a board member. I look forward to speaking with you as we weave something together for the future.
Hi, my name is Matt Cripps. I'm a potter and ceramic artist. I'm the Ceramic Center Coordinator of ACTS, the Arts and Culture Center of Sussex, and I've been on the board as Vice President of Craft New Brunswick for the last 2 years. It would be an honor if you would vote me on the board again to help represent you for the upcoming year. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sarah Brinkhurst, originally from England, but I've lived in Canada for a number of years. I've been an artist crafter all my life. I hold a BA in silver goldsmithing and jewellery design. I've helped start up and run several artist co-ops, run my own businesses, and most recently was executive director at Sunbury Shores Arts and Nature Centre in St Andrews before I retired last year. Whilst there, I specifically targeted a number of craft exhibitions as crossover experiences to help promote craft as art. I believe art is short for artistically created work, which is as relevant for paint or fibre or clay, metal, whatever the medium, professional or amateur. If the skill levels are high enough and there is sufficient integrity, design, and validity, I believe there should be no real distinction between art and craft. I have extensive board experience over the years, numerous theatre, community and creative organisations, specifically in the UK, Friends of Right Art Gallery, and the Creamery Square Art Society in Tatham-Gush, where we basically got the arts building built and developed the Ice House Gallery, and on the board of Sunbury Shores before I became the director. I'm a juried member of Craft NB and also have experience in jurying, curating exhibitions, artist promotions, grant writing, studio setup and management. Basically, I've been both sides of the desk for a number of years, so I understand both the business side of what's required and what it's like to actually be an artist crafter. I'm interested in serving with the Craft NB board as an opportunity to further discussion around the art-craft perceived divide and promote the rich and varied talent that we have here in the province to broader audiences and greater appreciation. So thank you very much for considering me. If there's any other information you'd like, please just let me know and I'd be happy to talk to you. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Tara Francis. I'm a Mi'kmaq artist from Elsipogtog First Nation. I run Indigenous art studios. I'm currently living in Shediac, New Brunswick, and I've recently been asked to sit on the board at Crafts MB. I also sit on the board at Maui Art Wabanaki Artist Collective. I do porcupine quill work and silk painting and silk scarves and some acrylic painting. I've been working my field for about 20 years, and I'm excited to be a part of Crafts MB. Thank you.
My name is Danielle Smith, and I am an environmentally engaged fiber artist and owner of Thistle Cove Fiber Studios. I have an academic background in environmental science, and I utilize art as a mechanism to engage communities in conversations around the impact of the climate crisis, loss of biodiversity, and the importance of connecting people to nature. I'm a self-taught artist whose primary medium is wool, and the art that I produce is not only aesthetically pleasing, but has a wide range of colors, textures, and tactile qualities, pushing boundaries both artistically and socially with my work.
Great. And if you had a hard time hearing any of that, that'll all be available on YouTube, so you can follow up later and listen to it. So we also have, of those people, returning board members are Heather McKay, myself, James Nightingale, Elizabeth Cook, Tracy O'Brien, and Cheryl Crowley. Cheryl wasn't able to make a video, but Cheryl is on the current board. For our new board members, we had Joanne Dugas, Sarah Brinkhurst, Tara Francis, Stephanie Coutier, Danielle Smith. We also have Nick Carhart and Jen Pilon, who didn't have videos either. If there are no dissenting voices or no nominations from the floor, I propose that we just have a batch vote. We can vote all of them on at once. So that will be Heather McKay, Matt Cripps, James Nightingale, Elizabeth Cook, Tracy O'Brien, Cheryl Crowley, Joanne Dugas, Sarah Brinkhurst, Tara Francis, Stephanie Coutier, Nick Carhart, Jen Pilon, and Danielle Smith for the 2022-2023 Craft MD board. Please vote now. Vote by raising your hand. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 I have. Could you raise your hands high? Sorry, I'll have to count that again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it is a majority. I just have to get the numbers for Heather. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, great, 10. So excellent. So there, board elected. So there's our new board. Very exciting. Yeah, and so unless anybody has anything else, it's meeting adjourned. Thank you all for being here. Oh, and thank you, Nadia, for letting us use this space as well.